Defeated against a team with a new plot. The Buffalo Bills circling the wagons were one of the best that ever circled it. Little Doug Flutie. Could David beat Goliath? Could little Flutie and the Bills beat Dante Culpepper and the Vikings? Those two quarterbacks are 15 years, 86 pounds, and a half a foot apart, by the way. Doug Flutie and Dante Culpepper. Flutie to Molds, though, 34 yards. Eric calls in the touchdown. 7-3 Buffalo early second. On third down today, Buffalo outstanding. Doug Flutie starting for the injured Rob Johnson. He'll start while Johnson mends his separated shoulder. That's third and one to Molds. Here's Molds on a slant. It's a first down. And the same drive, another third down.
One of the things the Vikings wanted to do is force Flutie to get rid of the ball quickly, but he did it, but he was so accurate today.
Third and two after a little bit of a slow start. Flutie really feeling it. You know he wanted to start. How about this, a 22-play drive? Bad news, it was only a field goal, but a 10-6 Bills at the half. You keep Minnesota's offense off the field, running the play clock down to like 3 and 2 seconds. And then Sam Rogers makes the play for Buffalo's defense late in the third quarter, and Buffalo is in business.
Well, Sam Rogers, between the hash marks and the numbers, you see him get into his drop. Culpepper never actually saw him coming from inside out. Great grab of the football. Big turnover for his defensive coordinator, Teddy Cottrell.
Flutie, then he slings that ball kind of 3/4 or a sidearm to Shammy Marish, and it's 24-13 Buffalo early fourth, and Flutie saying we can do even better than that. He's taking charge. He's that sort of leader. Flutie, 10 of 11 on third down. Meanwhile, the Vikings, though, they can strike. Robert Smith, 20-yard run. It's a first down. Next play, Dante Culpepper. And Chris Carter, all he does?
Catch touchdown.
11 yards. Vikings go for two, get it. 24-21 Buffalo. Field goal makes it 27-21. But look at Culpepper fire to Randy Moss. Amazing throw. Amazing catch. Culpepper to Moss. 39-yard touchdown, 28-27 Vikings.
Yeah, and just watch the catch from behind. Great. Watch his feet freeze. His upper body continues. Great concentration by Randy Moss, but we're getting used to it.
And now get used to a Flutie comeback. Under 3 minutes to go. 3rd and 11 from the 19. Doug Flutie trying to show that Flutie magic to Peerless Price, but he can't hold on. He's hit by Robert Tate. Orlando Thomas recovers for the Vikings. Ensuing drive. History. Gary Anderson needed 10 points to pass George Blanda. He gets 11, the all-time leading scorer. Congratulations to the young man from South Africa. 2,004 points with his children on the field, mom and Coach Dennis Green, but there's still a football game because with the score 31-27 Minnesota, Doug Flutie still has a chance. 33 seconds to go, the Bills with no timeout. Eric Molds, 20 yards. Tick, 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 tick. Last play. They're inside the 50. Does Flutie have the arm? Vikings have to
knock it down.
They do it. Robert Griffin does it. And it's Doug Flutie and the Bills come back short after Minnesota comes from behind. They were 11 down. Vikings remain undefeated. They are 7-0 as they win it by the count of 31-27, despite the fact Buffalo had the ball for 36 minutes, despite the fact the Bills outgained the Vikings by about 50, 60 yards. But you know what? First things first. When you're the all-time record holder for points scored, as Gary Anderson did, obviously a day you'll never forget.
It couldn't have happened in a more special way. You know, about halfway through the fourth quarter there when we were down by 13, it didn't look like a field goal was going to help us any. And I think it was just indicative of how our teams played all year. And we found a way to get it done. And then for me personally, to get an opportunity to kick a field goal at the end in front of our home crowd, and in that kind of setting at the end of the game, it was I couldn't have written it in a better way myself.
So Gary Anderson, who kicked for Pittsburgh from 82 to 94, a couple of years in Eagle, a year in San Francisco, the last three of the Vikings, 41 years young, drafted but let go by Buffalo in 1982, has certainly made himself quite a professional, hasn't he? Congratulations, Gary, one of the good guys. 2,004 points, eclipsing the mark held by Hall of Famer George Blanda, son of a former pro soccer player in England. He came to this country after high school, growing up in South Africa, kicked at Syracuse. What he's done in the NFL, and by the way, he's still going awfully strong, and so are the Minnesota Vikings, Tommy. 7-0. No, someone told me that Dante Culpepper hadn't started before this year. They must be kidding.
Well, this is all about his ability to be poised on the football field. I think show a maturity that you don't expect from someone who is his age. Now, yes, he has great weapons around him in Randy Moss and Chris Carter and Robert Smith in that offensive line. But when they need leadership, you can see that he is getting better at it week in and week out and winning as he grows. You know, so you're getting the best of both worlds if you are head coach Dennis Green.
Unreal. And now they're 7-0 as they were 2 years ago.
That is correct.
They were knocked from the unbeaten ranks 2 years ago by Tampa Bay. It's interesting, at Tampa, that's where they play next. The last 3 years, the last team that remained undefeated, Denver, and the Rams, all won the Super Bowl. As for Buffalo, that poise you talked about, I don't think they have a lot of it with their young players, even some of their young big-name receivers, not getting out of bounds, fumbling balls. Until the poise of the rest of the team matches the poise of Doug Flutie, efforts like today will be wasted, in which they really outplayed the Vikings and outsmarted them for most of the game. But credit to Minnesota because they've done it all year.